Good afternoon, everyone. It's Dr. Gershon with another BetterHealth webinar. I am absolutely thrilled to be here today with two incredible people. One who has incredible industry experience and is a new entrepreneur, and one who is a seasoned angel investor. Uh, Let me just first welcome everyone to this webinar today. I really want to, of course, as I always do, extend out my sincere thank you for everyone joining today. And I would encourage everyone, when you do log on, please let us know where you're logging in from. And if you have a particular question, which we urge you to ask of our two speakers, please let us know if you would like us to respond by email and include your email. A little bit of background in terms of BetterHealth. The BetterHealth platform really is an open source platform for collaboration, for leadership building, for sharing, identifying incredible CEOs who have a story and a journey that they want to share with everybody. For us at Endeavor and our venture studio, we really look at a diamond in terms of how we identify incredible investment opportunities. The top of that diamond is the CEO, the vision, the mission, the ability to build teams and communicate. And on the left side of that diamond is the demand side, on the right side, the liquidity side. And then finally, the end of the diamond is the exit strategy. All of those pieces need to be put in place. And that's why it's very exciting today to be able to have Swati Birla, who is the CEO of MedSoftec, as well as Barry Etra, who is the president of Keiretsu Forum Southeast and VP of Entrepreneurship Services at Keiretsu. They bring together incredible experience, both from industry, from healthcare institutions, and from investors. They bring together an understanding of what does it take to build amazing new startups? What does the journey look like? What are the strategic and financial partnerships that you need to bring together? And this is part of what BetterHealth stands for. We are looking to build a social media platform that is open source for all healthcare and life science entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders that come together to collaborate, to share vision and mission, and bring together operational skill sets, core competencies to change the world of healthcare, most importantly, directed at patient-centric outcome changes. Today, it is my absolute privilege to bring you a leader, a visionary, Swati Birla, who has a background at MD Anderson as one of the lead people in charge many years. Her experience and understanding of the patients as well as administration and doctors brings together a knowledge base that really is absolutely perfect for what she's doing right now and leading an exciting company that's addressing a critically important unmet need, which is cognitive dysfunction in the cancer patient. This cognitive dysfunction can come from a number of different ways, a number of different pathways and sources, but ultimately she is bringing tried and true cognitive behavioral therapy programs into 2023 and the world of AI and VR as a mechanism and as a delivery system and tool to be able to bring empowerment to patients to use these cognitive behavioral therapies at their own terms. And this is critically important. And Barry Etra, just an incredible track record of experience with one of the most important angel groups in the country and in the world, which is Keiretsu Forum, seeing really thousands of companies and being able to identify leaders who know how to build in teams. So today, I think we're focused in very much on the understanding that there is a pivot in the world of entrepreneurship, which is identifying a new type of leader, a leader that builds collaboration partners, not one who's directed at a zero-sum game. A leader who has a vision and calls out for collaboration with strategic and financial partners, as well as co-entrepreneurs and co-CEOs throughout the BetterHealth community. We urge everyone to please contact Swati if they see or hear something within this next half hour which excites them. So without further ado, I really want to introduce Swati Birla. She can tell you a bit about herself and her incredible journey and her vision and the new startup that's exciting. So Swati, if you can begin this conversation, please let everyone know who you are, what your vision is, and how you see your company changing the landscape for patients.
Hi, Dr. Garshan. Hi, Barry. Thank you so much for having us here at Endeavor. And thank you, Barry, taking the time off from your vacation and supporting us from Keiretsu Forum. I am so thrilled that you are both supporting our mission and passion about changing patient outcomes with cognitive dysfunctions, utilizing artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Dr. Garshan, I'm really thankful for that remarkable introduction that you had. So grateful to be here, and am looking to build significant collaboration within industry and with healthcare partners and contributors so we can make lives better for cancer patients and help them support in any way during their journey of cancer. Cancer is a very difficult chronic condition. It's a battle of lifetime. It's the second leading cause of death in the United States of America. It's a very painful process. Even after treatment, cancer patients are left for months and years in suffering. The side effects of the treatment and recovery period is quite remarkably long, and we need to utilize the latest technology to provide them support. So, one of the studies that NIH published recently, which indicated that 30% of cancer patients, even before they start the treatment, experience cognitive impairment. 75% have measurable cognitive impairments during the treatment, and 35% of cancer patients remain cognitively impaired during the during the treatment and after the treatment. So it's a serious condition that we would like to bring our attention to and utilize latest technology to help cancer patients in any way we can. uh, we are bringing together contemporary technologies in contemporary format on established protocols for treating brain fog, and we believe it can enhance um, the version of existing therapeutic treatments that are in the field at this point.
Fantastic. That's such a great start and such a great overview. I want to take a second to just thank people who are dialing in. Jenny, as always, thank you for dialing in, and thank you, Danielle, for calling in from Columbia University. Mata from India. Martin from Norway. It's good to see you again. We really appreciate people uh, signing in and letting us know where they're coming in from. It's exciting to be able to present this to this community. I know that the community is quite active in asking questions, and we encourage that. I'd love, Barry, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and your contribution to the world of investing through your work with Keiretsu, which is a real leader amongst angel groups.
Well, thank you, Martin. And let me just say in preparation that Martin is one of the smartest people I know. And I'm glad that I really had an opportunity to collaborate in this short forum. And Swati is a real big picture thinker. And there's a problem there because from the investor side, big picture is not what investors are interested in. So it's a very tricky tightrope that she has to walk in order to get people to the concrete from the big picture. I run the Atlanta chapter of the Keiretsu Forum, which is the largest angel investment group in the world. I've also started another smaller forum for local investment at higher levels, and totally committed to this world at this point, especially the life science part, because Keiretsu's focus, at least on the East Coast, is on life science.
Fantastic. Thank you for that overview. I want to explore a little bit, Swati, about your background because you come from MD Anderson. You spent many years there in a leadership position. I want to talk a little bit about how this inspiration bubbled up to the surface and how it is now engaging in a very mission driven but action oriented way. And Endeavor is happily engaged in that process and collaborating with you to build out this dream. So let's focus a little bit on the personal experiences. You've seen a lot of patients over the years. You've seen their suffering, and you've seen things that have worked on a non-digital platform basis. And now I want to understand, your background cuts across many different lines. I'd like for you to explain a little bit about your technical background and how that intersects with this very real world patient centric vision that you have and your experiences. And that leads to the company formation.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for this remarkable question, Dr. Rashan. Well, I started my career in academic hospitals and large hospital systems. Throughout my career, I was very passionate towards providing the much needed care to patients in general. My most exciting opportunity was at UTMD Anderson Cancer Center, and I think that changed the entire vision of my life. I was leading the program of digital health, the entire team, and we delivered President Biden's cancer moonshot initiatives on innovative mHealth platforms. We served and delivered cancer patients in all three aspects, which actually served MD Anderson's mission with clinical care, research, and education. So, for example, in clinical care, we delivered mHealth applications connecting physicians and patients together, which increased their confidence, provided the much needed care. And we started this initiative back in 2016, before COVID era. So back then it was quite an innovative technology, and we had a lot of pushback back then too. But after COVID, we are getting much needed support from all the researchers, physicians, and industry leaders on this initiative. So for clinical care, we delivered mHealth applications to connect provider and patients, increase patient engagement, provide the much needed care. On research, we actually delivered quite a few mHealth applications in prevention. So cancer can be prevented if we adopt healthy lifestyle and if we exercise. So that's the message we delivered. So for example, in research, we delivered a number of mHealth applications on smoking cessation. With the help of researchers and providers, participants and patients understood their own addictive behaviors, and the therapy that was provided utilizing the mHealth application enables some of the participants to quit the addictive behavior, to adopt a lifestyle that was tobacco free. And there was quite a few remarkable success stories. The mHealth applications enable us to generate data and advance the care to the next level, which was not possible in the past. So, which was a remarkable accomplishment. We also launched a bunch of educational mHealth applications to support the clinical initiatives as well as the research initiatives. And I was totally thrilled with all the success that we were getting from our patients, from our providers, with all the contributions that we were making. While I was happy with this contribution, I used to spend a lot of time in the hospital, and I used to see all the patients going in and out, and the suffering that I was able to sense on their faces, and a lot of family members and some of our dear friends, especially Barry, is also a cancer survivor. So once I realized that it was a very, very serious and painful journey, and we need to do more. How do we enhance the existing operations? So we looked into further advancing and adapting latest technologies, identifying contemporary formats on established protocols of treating brain fog. That's a new venture that we are launching right now, and we started this venture last year. Uh, that is where we are, and I'm looking forward to build new collaborations with Dr. Gershan, with Barry, with Endeavor, as well as Keiretsu Forum, and all the supporters and community members who can come in, support us in any way, and guide us through in this journey where we can make cancer patients' life better.
Fantastic. It's such I think, a strong message of commitment, of devotion, of empathy, and leadership. I want to just highlight that one of our webinar attendees has reached out, and I'm just going to put his message up here. So this is Robert, who is dialing in with a VR developer background and AI background. I'll be able to connect the two of you so you can talk about possible fit to move things forward in that space. this is the kind of collaboration that we're looking for at the platform, that we encourage people to dial in and talk about their skill sets and their core competencies as they overlap for emerging company needs. So Barry, I want to just shift a second over to the investor side. As you said, investors have a very rubric-like way of looking at companies, somewhat static in nature. To some extent, that makes sense because what has worked in the past is likely to work in the future. But to some extent, it also takes a creative mind like yours to be able to value in people who do have this big picture perspective and can help in terms of your understanding of how to create the appropriately authentic narrative for investors. I want you to talk about some of the things that are important to you in terms of what you see as how CEO leaders now are required in this new world, particularly in healthcare, which is so complex, to develop important skill sets which perhaps were not as necessary or perhaps not as rewarded in the past years. The difference really is zero-sum game CEOs versus collaboration, team building, partnership CEOs. And how do investors bring a sense of valuation to these skill sets? And what do you look for as president of Keiretsu Forum in your region?
So the most attractive CEOs, and of course that's who our investors are looking towards 85% of the time. The most attractive ones are the ones who first know what they don't know. That's an incredibly important characteristic for a successful CEO, that they know what they don't know. And as such, that opens the door to lots of different collaborative efforts and to possibly saying, well, we're focused on this, but maybe we should hold off on that for a minute and do a little sidebar into this area. We might be incredibly valuable here immediately. Investors are looking for focus, and that is at odds often with big picture. So if you can, as an entrepreneur, if you can talk to investors and think the way they think, which is in the long run, yes, they have a sidebar, I'd like to make the world better. But in the short run, it's how much money do you need to do this? Does that make sense? Am I confident you can pull this off, you and the team you have? When can I get my money back, and what is the return? And that may be a little bit capitalistic, but that is the way investors think. So as an entrepreneur, Swati, you're going to want to bring them as much as what they want as what you want. And that's how you talk to them. You talk to them about both sides. And yes, Keiretsu, I have described Keiretsu as an organization that where every investment makes the world better. But that's not even the way they think. So it's a lot about understanding investors, understanding what's important to them. It's the same as really any other sale. And helping focus on where else and what might be the long tail of an investment, which is, yes, you're focused on this piece now, but down the road, this will be very valuable for this and this. That makes it yet that much more investable.
Such great comments. I want to focus people on an article that I co-wrote, which is a lot about what Barry's talking about, which is how do CEO entrepreneurs get trained to think like an investor, and there are various aspects. So I would urge people to take a look at this link. It talks about many of these issues, bring short, long-term perspectives together into a focal point, and most importantly, part of this story Barry is talking about is how do you vernacular that resonates with investors? How do you create an authentic narrative that instills confidence and trust that your vision is not only heard, is not only listened to, but really heard, really absorbed by the investor. And that absorption makes them believe that you are the person to be able to execute and solve that you've identified. One of the things that's part of this story, which is exciting, is that the problem that we're talking about here, as one of the people who dialed in just talked about in the chat, is this is a problem that is ubiquitous. So this is a problem that is in an analog form right now in terms of treatment modalities, but it's ubiquitous. The number of patients that have brain fog in cancer is well documented. The ability to treat brain fog with cognitive behavioral therapy, has success, and will grow into second and third and fourth generations as that therapy modality begins to mature. And that's, I think, a lot about what Swati is about. She's using recognized proven that have been studied in clinical trials, that have been studied over the years, and she's amplifying that signal. And she's using that amplification also under the umbrella of new tools that empower patients. So I want to talk about part of cognitive therapy is the ability to take control over your outcomes. Part of it is the ability to recognize that training programs empower patients by using their own innate neuroanatomy, neurochemistry to be able to activate change for themselves. This is measurable, and this is part of what the digital health platform offers, which is the ability to bring things to patient in a digital format so that they can decentralize care, that they can take care of themselves 24/7 in their own setting, but also to have certain metrics around the evaluation and the success. And that brings us back again to investors. Investors do like metrics. They like to see traction. They like to measure change. So I'd like to swing it back to Swati a little bit and just to talk about, what you see down the road. If you have a crystal ball, 5 years down the road, what would you like to see in terms of how your company impacts the state of patient care?
Well, that's a remarkable question, Dr. Gershan, and thank you so much for the wonderful explanation there, because this is exactly what we are doing, and this is exactly what we want to do. So what is happening at this point? Cancer can be treated in 3 different ways. These are the 3, most popular, most significant type of treatment: surgery, chemotherapy, and radiotherapy, and which are very powerful but are associated with risk of nerve damage, injury, and toxicity to healthy tissues, leaving patients with cognitive impairment for a prolonged period of time. Some are affected. However, majority of them can overcome. We are targeting the population that stays with cognitive impairment during short period of time or during longer period of time, because even a minor amount of cognitive impairment, brain fog, can decrease the quality of life, decrease the everyday quality of life significantly. So what we are trying to do here with our comprehensive solution of Care Cognitive, which is an innovative suite of mHealth application, we want to bring all sort of cognitive therapeutic treatments in one solution. We want to engage patients. We want to empower them by giving them the control of their own healthcare. And we want to utilize the latest technology, the latest platform with artificial intelligence, virtual reality, creating a virtual platform for them where they can actually engage with their own providers. When patients are more engaged in their own healthcare, we produce better results, because that's the psychology we have when we are engaged and contributing in our own health. We want to eat well, we want to exercise, we want to take care of ourselves. The overall health is better, the outcomes are better, the financial impact on healthcare is better. We can reduce the cost of taking care of patients. So there is a multidimensional impact that we have, and that's what we want to do, utilizing latest technology.
Fantastic. Barry, I want to swing it back to you. You know, for me, entrepreneurs that are really impactful are stepwise in their chain. They're not incremental. However, building a company is incremental. Step by step, one foot in front of the other. You build teams that drive, projects that drive revenue, that drive collaboration. What would you say are some of the important steps that you see ahead for Swati and her company as a shout out to people who are listening? She may need to put in place, let's say over the next 12 months, would resonate with investors to show traction.
So she's, again, what everybody is looking first at the CEO and then about a team. And one of the things we stress at Keiretsu is making sure you have the right kind of team to attract investors. You have all the disciplines covered, and you always have somebody, for the right person for the right job. Then a board of advisors who are well known in the industry is an enormous plus, but the team who can actually get it done is the hardest part to create. And people who have done it before actually get far more acceptance than people who are brand new, as bright as they might be. Then again, it's all about proving what you can prove. I stress that to pre-revenue companies all the time. Prove what you can prove, because everything you can show to be true adds credibility and adds corpus to what you're doing. It's a tricky problem. There's a lot to work on there, but again, little steps, as Martin said, and Swati, I think, understands where she wants to go, and those are also important pieces. I'm not sure I answered what you asked.
Well, you did. That really is terrific. One of the things that I highlight is Endeavor's commitment to CEO women, to entrepreneurs and leaders, who are women, and particularly women of color, and particularly women from diverse backgrounds. Their voices historically have been underserved. So we want to really take this opportunity to shout out, to the people that we have worked with and supported for this particular mission that we have at Endeavor. We do feel that there is a sense of power from the community because there is a historical underserved, underrepresented voice. And we want to be able to lift up that voice. Swati's experiences, I think, also, although we did talk about it, articulate the disparities in healthcare. And so a lot of what Endeavor is looking at is closing a healthcare disparities gap. Within cancer, there are huge disparities amongst different patient populations with different ethnic backgrounds, with different cultural backgrounds. These different communities are represented in terms of an important aspect of the change within the healthcare system that is represented by other partnerships and collaborations with government and industry. So one of the things that I want to highlight in terms of what Swati needs to do is to be able to connect with the people that understand her voice, understand where she's going as a woman CEO leader who has a vision. The FDA, for example, has now mandated that clinical trials have a diversity, equity, and inclusion focus. They will not look at drugs and devices for approval unless there is a clear mandate that diverse populations are represented in these trials, because the safety and efficacy data that we get from these trials is skewed because the representation of this diverse patient population is not accurately embedded in the clinical trial. So I think the same can be talked about in terms of the cognitive behavior that is being delivered to these cancer patients. Not all cancer patients have access to cutting edge therapy. Not all cancer patients have access to physicians who understand their particular problems that are culturally specific. And so one of the things that I would urge in terms of the build out of the company is to amplify this message that we are empathetic, that we do understand diverse differences, that we are inclusive in our ability to bring things to diverse populations in as simple and as fundamental ways as partnering with telecommunications companies, which allow all communities to have access to internet. President Biden's new initiative, which is to expand out the internet across the United States, is part of that process. So you talked about the moonshot. You talked about your involvement with government organizations. I would urge you, alongside Barry's recommendations, which are spot on, to be able to look for collaboration with these organizations that I just mentioned, telecommunications company, government organizations, the White House. These are supportive systems that recognize that your voice as a woman leader is absolutely paramount to be able to move the needle forward in healthcare. And to recognize the fact that not only you're addressing problems for cancer patients at large, but you're emphasizing in the things that you're doing that internet, technology, and access to the web to use AI and VR is absolutely critical in next generation healthcare. Denying access to the web and internet connectivity is in and of itself contributing to healthcare access gaps. And Endeavor is a strong believer that access to technology like AI and VR is absolutely critical to provide the best patient outcomes. So that is my suggestion to you, is to be able to plug into organizations within the government system. And this would include, of course, NIH, and I can connect you with people at NIH to look at potential studies and grants to move some of this forward.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for this wonderful advice, Dr. Krishan. Our missions are aligned. This is exactly the direction that I would like to move this initiative in. Thank you so much for sharing all this insight, Barry. I'm very thrilled and I feel very blessed that we have connections and connectivities with industry leaders who are willing to support us in any way they can. And all this advice is remarkable. I am already connected and working with NIH as well as National Institute of Cancer through the Cancer X program. Would like to work with them on cutting cancer-related deaths in half by next 25 years. So there are quite a few initiatives that I'm part of, but definitely I'm looking to build more connections and collaborate at any level with industry leaders to move this mission forward, where we can actually change patient outcomes with cognitive dysfunctions utilizing artificial intelligence and virtual reality.
Just such a poignant message. I can't thank you enough. You know, as a former oncologist and immunologist, this really resonates with me. The personal stories, the personal encounters that I've had, you know, I can confirm the need for what you are bringing to the table. Barry, thank you so much. I know you're on vacation. This was a real gesture of friendship and support for Swati. The mission that she has is laudable, and Endeavor, we support it wholeheartedly. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. I know you're in a beautiful part of the world. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Stay on for just a second, and I'm going to say so long to everybody here who's dialed in. I just want to do a quick shout out to people who've dialed into the webinar. Mukesh from India, thank you again for dialing in. And Robert, once again, for your thoughtful comments. Jenny, for being such a support system at every level of BetterHealth. And Dr. Jason, thank you for all the things that you're saying. Nikhil, thank you so much for dialing in from Canada, another CEO leader who's doing incredible things in clinical trials for diverse populations. And Sayoko, also from Rhode Island, thank you for dialing in. And Mustafa from Turkey. Daniel, we've already thanked, but once again, thank you so much. Madhav, again, from India. Martin from Norway, thank you for calling in and supporting BetterHealth webinar. See you all next Tuesday for another exciting chat on BetterHealth. I know that you're going to have a fantastic week. Enjoy, be healthy, be safe. Thank you for dialing in.